Welcome to another edition of the VSOP Lounge. I, of course, am your host, Captain of the Cool Kids, host of the Grown Man Logic podcast, DeJuan J, and I hope that all is well. Tonight, we're going to continue down our Keep It G series. We're almost through, and I hope that this series has added something to your life. I hope that you've learned something, you've gained something. You're starting to implement these things into your life in one form or another. I hope that we're not just up here, wasting energy, wasting time, and wasting emotion, because we've definitely discussed that before, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves. Before we go any further, the drink of the evening. The drink of the evening is a Tequila Oasis. A Tequila Oasis. Now tonight, we've already talked about being generous, being genuine, being good, being gallant, being giving. Tonight, step number 6, we're going to discuss being goal-oriented. Now I know already, before you even jump off the roof, jump out the window on me, I know what you're going to say. Everyone knows that we have to set up goals for ourselves, and everyone knows that we have to do this, that, and the third. But that's not the case. Statistics show that only 3% of the population set goals for themselves. Only 3% of the population set goals for themselves, and only 8% of the 3 that set the goals actually achieve those goals. So if that's the case and it's a given and everyone knows, then why are we having such a problem achieving our goals? 3% of the population is bananas. It was startling to me, actually, because I assumed that everyone operated, on a similar frequency. It was wrong of me to assume, I know. I assumed that everyone operated under a similar frequency, and that with the amount of posts of manifestation and the amount of motivational speakers and the amount of coaches, life coaches, dating coaches, relationship gurus, personal trainers, weight loss, there's a coach for everything. So one would assume that that more people actually set goals than they actually do, and it's crazy. And then when you break that 3% down, only 8% of those people actually stick to or have any sort of stick-to-itiveness. I'm reminded of episode 1 of the Grown Man Logic podcast, when we talked about the lack of accountability, follow through, and accountability and follow through are huge. I'm reminded of that because that was episode 1 of Grown Man Logic, and it pretty much set the stage, it set the platform for all of the content that you've been delivered since then. There's no follow through when it comes to setting goals. Why is it important to you? As we always do, goal oriented, by definition, an individual dispositioned towards developing and validating one's ability in achievement settings. What does that mean in layman's terms? Well, simple. In layman's terms, that simply means that any time that you have to rise to an occasion, no matter how big or small the project is, you're automatically going to rise up, because you're going to assess what it is that you need to do. That becomes your goal, and then you're going to formulate a plan, and then you're going to write that plan down, and then take those steps to achieve that goal. That's what goal-oriented people do. That's it in layman's terms. Whenever you're dealing with a goal-oriented person, you're never going to have to wonder if they have the next step planned out. They always have an answer for that question. There's always an answer for, hey, so what next? There's always an answer, because we're strategic. We've woken up on purpose. We've woken up about our purpose, and we've woken up with the sense of, hey, we're gonna get this done. And As a result of that, when bosses come down to goal-oriented people, they automatically have an answer. When significant others or spouses, girlfriends, fiancés, hey, what's next? You automatically have an answer. When the community calls upon men, whether it's, something simple as a community barbecue, a block party, anything like that, like the people that that you can be counted on, because you're goal oriented, and once you're known for that, you're automatically known for the planning, and your success rate speaks for itself. So there's no sense in going around bragging about it. Set goal, set goal, set. Yes, absolutely. But there's no reason to tout about that. Goal-oriented people understand the concept of return on investment. In other words, I can sacrifice something short now for a greater return later. I can sacrifice my short-term happiness for long-term success. Now, dealing with that kind of stuff takes discipline. Okay, I may have to skip a party. Many of you have done it. Many people have done it. College students, the guys that are in charge of, CEOs and people that are in charge of like mergers, and people that are working corporate America, right? In order to get these high paying, high interest, high yielding jobs inside of corporate America, they've had to sacrifice. When everyone else was going to the frat party, doing keg stands and body shots, they're doing it now. More paid, more safe, more maturely, because they sacrificed that night of partying for an extra study session. They sacrificed that night of partying for staying up late, making sure that they understand the material that the professor is going to be going over. And as a result of that, the GPA was higher. The prospects were higher. The way to maneuver throughout life was more understood by these people, because they understand right now 15, 20, 45 minutes, an hour of my time, every second counts. Now, if we've made it this far in the series, I'm assuming that that you're enjoying them, and that either you're enjoying them, you're going to pass this along to someone, or you're actually gaining stuff from this. So when it comes down to the sacrifice, no good thing comes without sacrifice. And this is another one of those things. You're positioning yourself for the most desired outcomes. I'm reminded of that old cliche, luck is when hard work meets opportunity. Are you going to be in a position to take advantage of the opportunity when it presents itself? Or are you going to be prepared? And here's how you do it. You put your vision board up. Hey, here's where I want to be. It's not going to manifest itself. It's not. We did a video on YouTube a few weeks back now, actually, about affirmations. And if you're a follower of the Grown Man Logic podcast, which you should be, I'm known for saying it. Do the effing work. Do the freaking work. Because you can come up and look at yourself in the mirror. You can wake up, look at yourself in the mirror every day and tell yourself, hey, I'm a good person. I'm wonderful. I'm magnificent. I'm going to crush today. Okay, that's fine. That's fair. I buy that. I believe in you. But what are you going to crush? What is it that you're gonna wake up and go crush? What are you gonna go dominate? What are you gonna go accomplish? What list are you marking this stuff off of? And that's why affirmations without the work they're asinine. Affirmations without actions are asinine. They don't matter. And the same thing is true for your wish, right? Okay, so you got your vision board up, all right? You got your big goal at the top, but there's no steps underneath. So a goal without a plan is just a wish. A goal without a plan is just a wish. Now, this is not me attempting to stifle or shit on your dreams, or shit on the fact that you want to make something of yourself. But there has to be follow through, because goal-oriented people like to know where the destination is. In the military, one of the things that annoyed me the most was we had to run a mile and a half, every 6 months for our physical readiness test. And instead of it being a straight shot mile and a half, they'd pick a random spot at like 0.75. There was nothing definitive there. There was nothing there to tell me, hey, you're halfway there. It was just, okay, when you get here, turn around. There was nothing there. There was no water break there. There was no big sign that I like to look at. The route oftentimes was not scenic. There was no definitive destination. It was kind of like, hey, you're gonna run until we decided it was 0.75 miles. And goal-oriented people can't operate like that. When you're known for being goal-oriented, people know that you're going to be competitive, and oftentimes you can be confused for being a dick, for being a tool, a douchebag ass, whatever you decide to call those types of people who are no nonsensical, right? The general public, because they don't understand your mindset. They don't understand that while they're dilly-dallying, while they're taking their time, and they may reach the destination, they may not reach the destination, they don't understand that you don't have time for that. Your mind and your body and your habits and your life is not programmed or equipped to be able to handle being stagnant or moving slow. You have to wake up on purpose and move with purpose at every moment. So they know that you're going to be competitive and that you're going to go hard for the win. And this is where you see in the dating market, assholes finishing first. Because women, they like decisive men. They like decisive and assertive men. Now, the only way to be decisive and assertive is to move with confidence. And the only way to move with confidence is to be sure of where you're going and what you're doing. And the only way that that's possible is to know the destination so that you plan this properly. Do you see how these things are starting to connect? The 7 G's, they're all interlinked, and some of the qualities and the characteristics overlap, because it's all about you at your core. At your core, it's about how you get there. Now, I will caution you that as a goal-oriented person, some people may look at you as cutthroat. Some people may look at you and decide they don't like the way that you move because you value outcome over emotion. In our mental and our emotional equation, results, outcomes are what matters. And it's crazy because they don't understand, so they just write you off as a cutthroat individual. They don't realize that it's all for the greater good. It's all for the greater good. And no matter what is happening, people don't understand that the outcome, your destination is what matters. Now, it's okay to love everyone, and we're gonna get into that in chapter 7. We're gonna get into that about loving everyone, being oriented towards other people. But if you don't love yourself enough to put yourself in the most valuable, if you don't love yourself enough to put yourself in the most opportunistic position to get the desired outcome that you want and that you need, how valuable are you to anyone else? That's the question. That's the question that you're going to have to look in the mirror and ask yourself. Am I adding value to my environment? Am I adding value? And goal-oriented people tend to be more successful because you can set your goal, review your progress, and then revise your strategy as necessary. Too many times, too many people walk through life aimlessly, it seems like. They have an idea or the general vicinity they want to end up, or a general vicinity they want to walk towards, or dilly-dally towards, or scamper towards. They have an idea, but at the end of the day, they don't have a plan to get there. Before the wave of smartphones, there were maps, and before maps, there were compasses, and before compasses, they navigated by the stars, and before then, they can navigate through trails by, I'm headed east due to the direction of the moss on the tree. There's always been navigators, and navigators lead because they have the answers, they have the plan, they know the path of least resistance because they've sat down, they've done a value stream analysis of where and what it is that they need to do, cut out the waste, and move forward. And here's where I'm trying to get you to. Here's where this is where we're headed. I told you this in the very beginning. This is a guide, right? So in other words, I and we at Grown Man Logic we want to see you win. We want to see you win. So as a result of that, 3 successful individuals, by anybody's stretch of the imagination, we've got a mix of experience from middle to upper middle to low high to we've got the experience here. So we're leading. We're navigators. It doesn't make us better. It just makes us more knowledgeable. But here I am, the last 5 episodes, and now this one's 6th. I'm giving you the game. I'm opening your mind to critical thinking because the critical thinking is what's going to give you the outcome. I'm giving you the outline. Now for the low down and dirty, you're gonna have to go pick up the book via Amazon.com. I'm trying to get it out by the end of the year. COVID is slowing us down, but for the low down and dirty, for the exactly how to get there, you can view these lounge episodes as teasers. But yeah, set your goals, review your progress, revise your strategy. We have little room for waste. Now, how do we get there? It begins in the mind. Write the goals down. Step 2, build a support system around those goals. No successful person has become successful alone. You have to learn to build and leverage a network surrounding your goal. Number 3, be specific and challenging. Because if the goal isn't challenging to you, then you become bored by it, and then boredom leads to complacency, which leads to you stopping, and then you become part of the 92% that don't achieve their goals. Number 4, recognize procrastination when it's happening and find out the reason behind it. Some of the ways to mitigate procrastination is to make a to-do list, work backwards from your deadline, focus on one task at a time. Number 5, practice the 52-17 rule. Now, a lot of people heard of the 80-20 rule in terms of relationships and when dealing with people, but the 52-17 rule is something that very successful people utilize when they'll work for 52 minutes, take a break for 17. Work for 52, a break for 17. Work for 52, a break for 17. It's a way to break up the monotony and can loosen frustration and loosen complacency and losing yourself in the work so you can stay focused on the task at hand. And number 6, and here's something that's critical. Do not multitask. Multitasking opens up the door for forgetfulness and missing a step. And as a goal-oriented person, as a genuine person, as a good person, as a gallant person, as a generous person, we if we're putting ourselves in these positions to walk in any room and to be able to hang with the crowd that's in that room, if we're putting ourselves in position for the desired outcomes, to sit at the tables that we want to sit at, we can't afford to miss steps at this point in the game. At this juncture in the game, we cannot afford to miss. So don't multitask. Focus on one task at a time and have the patience to see that task through. And once that task is done, then move on to the next one. That's how you get there. That's how you get there. And do you think that I'm off? Did I miss something? Something that you would have added, something that you would have taken away? Email me. Talk to gml@gmail.com. Talk to gml@gmail.com. Text me 617-752-8150, 617-752-8150. Let's connect. Let's talk about it. Let's dialogue. Until next time, when we're going to be talking about being grateful, which is perhaps the most important G of them all. This has been an episode of the VSOP Lounge. Cheers, folks. Did you enjoy what you just watched? Be sure to give Grown Man Logic a listen on all streaming services and follow us on all forms of social media. We'll see you next time.